All right. So good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Marian E. King. Welcome to Empty Logistics Dispatching course. So this morning, like I was telling you all, it's going to be more orientation like. We're going to talk about, just getting to know one another. I'm going to remember you all's names by the time we're done. And we will be with each other the next 3 weeks. And we will be learning a plethora of things to prepare you for your dispatching businesses and whatever you want to go to next, because this is the foundation. Nothing that I say is law, nothing that I say is guaranteed. The only thing that I can guarantee you is information, which I know works because I've done it myself consistently for the past year. I have learned a lot of information, and everything that I have learned, I am going to impart into you all to prepare you for your business. Any updates that I learn about while we are together, I will make sure that I update you. I encourage everybody to go and take a look at the things that I find out, because we all know that sometimes people will see it differently. I, for one, love perspective, and others understanding, because I don't like to be one-sided, and I am always up for learning something else. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to work with the whiteboard today. I'm going to walk over to it. You all tell me, actually, before I walk over to it, is it big enough for you all to see, or do I need to bring you closer?
Definitely closer.
A little closer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to do that.
Closer. Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to bring y'all up, and if it's still not, then I'll take the camera off of here and place it on one of these tripods. Okay. Still closer? Y'all want me to come closer? Okay, let me place it. I got you.
I just have my little tiny phone screen, so.
Okay, that's fine. I'm about to make a little remix. Put this camera on my the thing that I hold my phone up. So y'all give me a second. Switch it out really quickly. We're gonna start with, because I can talk to you all while I do this. Your business name. So you want to decide, excuse me, what you want your business name to be. Now, you don't have to have your logo and your color scheme and all of that immediately, but you do want to start thinking about it. So once you start your process, so you'll decide your business name, you'll check Google to see if that name is available. So I'm gonna bring this all the way up, and I'm gonna bring y'all right on up here with me. We're gonna raise all the way up. Stand tall. Just stay here. All right, what about now? Kind of.
Tip it up a bit. We can't see the top. I can't see the top.
Oh, and this is a next. See if I can raise it up any higher. Hold on. Let's see if this one stands any taller. That's the highest it goes. Okay, well, I'll just have to hold it up here. Okay. Maybe I should put it on my phone. But anyway, you know what? Let me hold it up here in case anybody needs to screenshot it. So I'll just go like this. So you want to decide your business name. Check Google for the availability of the name. Establish your business. So establishing your business is you have to find out if your state requires you to get an LLC or you can do a DBA. Or Inc. if you're going, large like that. But usually the LLC is what works. Your EIN, that is free. And let me tell you the things. You all can do these yourself. Do not pay anyone hundreds
Oh,
of dollars.
that's
I didn't
perfect
hear
how
you.
you got that camera right now. That's good.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna hold it up right here. All
Yeah.
right. Perfect. Now it's in my hand, so it might move. Okay. So you all yeah, don't pay anybody to do this. This is something that you could do yourself. I live in the state of Georgia, so I know here that we have to have an LLC and it's $100 and you pay $50 renewal every year. Your EIN, it is free. And I have the website here, www.irs.gov. Once you fill that out and it gets to the end and asks you, do you want to receive it in the mail or you want to receive it now, hit receive it now and go ahead and download it. You can always email it to yourself and go to Staples or somewhere and get it. Oh, mess it up. And print it out to have for your files. The fifth thing, your domain name. You need a professional email. In order to get a professional email, you need a domain name. So your domain name is going to be whatever you call your business. So it will be info at, like mine is, I have for my personal email, mking@empteenest.com because I bought Empty Nest LLC. So that's mine. And then my, for you all to email is info@empteenest.com. So right now I have GoDaddy.com. Right now, GoDaddy has a special going on where you can get a .com name for $2.99 for 2 years. So that was the special that was on last night when I found it. But you all, they have something all the time. When you get that professional email, even if you do not get a website or any of those things, once you have that professional email, GoDaddy, you can get your professional email from GoDaddy. You can pay it for the year or you can pay $6.99 for it. A professional email is whatever you want to put in front of it at. No Yahoo or none of that. Those are already purchased. You want to have something that is yours. So when you start doing business, it's respected as a business. A lot of people feel like when people have those domains that their businesses are large. Nope. The secret is $6.99 a month, and you look like a corporation. Next, you want to get you a virtual address. When you sign up for your business, all of that information is public, and we work from home. We don't want anyone pulling up to our home. Excuse me. So I have physical address, which is at physicaladdress.com. I pay $8.95 monthly. That's where all my mail goes to. They have more expensive ones, but I don't have much mail. So when I get mail, I'll pay to have it forwarded to my house. So the next thing you want to do is a second phone line. You can get an app. I have an app. I have the eVoice app. I pay $14.99 a month. Excuse me. And then lastly, you want to set up your business social media. Excuse me. Up with the EIN, if you want to get a Dun & Bradstreet immediately, that's optional. You are able to do that, whenever you get ready, when you want to start building your business credit, but you don't have to get it immediately. Just like you don't have to get a business bank account immediately, but you will need to get something like Stripe, which I'm going to talk about later on what you'll need, because you want to be able to invoice and you want to be able to keep your personal money and your business money separate. Y'all see what's going on with the government and how they're getting in your business through Cash App and unaccounted for monies. So we want to make sure that we are not commingling funds and we separate everything and we're able to speak to everything. So those are the main things that you'll need to get started. And I think I gave you all of the emails for them. And again, these are just what I have. If you know somewhere better, you can always do, find those and go from there. Now, what you'll need to run your business. And I have in parentheses here, if you do not have all of these things by the time class is over, it is okay. We'll improvise and work it out because we know that different situations happen for different people in different times. So you'll need a desktop or laptop and internet access. You will need Adobe Acrobat. So you can, excuse me, for whatever reason, if you have to turn something into a PDF form, they have one for $14.99 a month that you can put on your cell phone. It is quick, it is easy. And you will also need DocuSign or some form of being able to sign documents. I have both of these. The DocuSign, I think I pay $10 a month, but they also have a free one. And the free one is, you're just able to do one signature. If you need to, if you have more than one company, then you'll go up to the $10 one. And I think it allows you to do like 3 signatures. But you'll need these for your carriers because you are going to be their power of attorney. And you're going to sign all their rate confirmations and everything that needs to be done concerning loads and concerning them moving. So you'll need to have one of these. And you can put these on your phone as apps, and you can also log into them on your computer if you're using your desktop. You will need a load board, which I will be giving you free access, a free 30-day subscription. We're probably going to start it next week because that's when we're going to be starting to do the things that we learned this week. Stripe, business bank account you can get later. But you will need Stripe for sure, which I'll pull that up. I forgot to put that .com. So I like Stripe, and I use Stripe for my carriers that do not have a factoring company. So it's a way that I can invoice, and not only can I invoice them, I can upload pictures of everything that I did for them, every load, every Raycon, every BOL. So it is the proof of what you need to give me 8% for of each. And then I can put the total, it'll total itself out at the bottom. So I'll get you all the .com for that if you need it, because we don't want to, like I was saying earlier, we want to separate our business funds from our personal funds. You will need a dispatcher agreement. And these are, many of these things you probably will have this week when you take a look into the nesting space. When you go to the files tabs, there are a lot of things there that you can download that you can have for yourself. And then you will need a map. You will need a map because you don't know where your carrier is going to be and where they're going to go. And you want to be able to, oh man, my husband bring this whole thing over here. You want to be able to know where they are. You want to know the time zones that they're in and all of the things that are mapped, which we're going to get more into probably tomorrow. So I wanted to start there so we all know what is happening, what we need. And I'll actually do a screenshot of it and post it. Oh, business in the street. And post it in the group so you all can have it in case you didn't get everything there. And I'll also take a picture of the map. So when you get your map, you can outline it how you want to outline it with your colors and your all of your things. All right, so that is that. Let me push this back because now we're going to go into the vocabulary, so to speak, the terms, verbiage that we use. And if you have any questions, Oh, let me hit this right here. I forgot to put the little chat box on the side in case somebody says something. Okay. So if you have any questions at any time, please, if I'm in the middle of something, just put it over here. Or I don't see the little hand raise. Oh, it has a little hand raise. So whatever you're needing, I will get you taken care of. And if it's something that we're gonna go into, then I'll just say, we're gonna get there, and I'll be able to. Okay, so go ahead, Sonny.
Just practicing,
Oh,
seeing
okay.
if it worked.
Gotcha. It works. Thank you so much. So now we're going to go into the verbiage. Hold on, let me pull it up. We're going to talk about the most popular ones in the in the file section, in the nesting group. There's like all of them, hundreds of them. But I'm just going to give you the ones that we use everyday verbiage. And those other ones, if you want to have them, you can go ahead and, download them and take a look at them. So, second presentation. Oh, and also we'll talk again. Let me start here with what we do and the things. So as a dispatcher. Okay, wait. I just wanted to move this, not the whole thing. So we're going to go into what a dispatcher is, what we do. Y'all still here?
I am.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was making sure I didn't accidentally close it out. Okay. Hold on. Okay, there y'all. There's the presentation. Okay, file. Now let me find y'all back. And we'll roll out. And some of you all probably saw this on my YouTube, but I'll go more into detail because that one is really just a high level overview. So people just have an understanding of what we're doing and what we're getting into. You go here. Okay, here y'all go. Present. Present now a window. Share. Y'all let me know if y'all can see it. No. All right, so here we go. So again, what we do, so we are basically the admin of the business. We take care of fighting for them to get paid. We take care of getting the loads for them, whatever means we decide to use in our businesses. So you'll hear me say that often. Let everyone send messages. Yes. Because when you get the information, you'll decide what you want to do, how you want to do it. And everybody has their own way of doing things. I just want to make sure that we have the information. So a dispatcher assists the carrier in finding loads, booking loads, negotiating with brokers or shippers, and handling carriers' back office paperwork. So you will decide how much of that you want to do. I do all of it. I find the loads, I book the loads, I fill out all of the paperwork that needs to be done. I already have all of the information from the carrier, which you all will retrieve when you give them your dispatcher agreement. If there's any toll that needs to be paid, delay, detention pay, or layover, I am the one that gets onto the broker about it. I pretty much try to get my carrier in position to just drive and submit me to BOL. Because with what we do, we have to understand that there's a lot of stress and pressure on the carrier. He has to make sure that the truck is on point. He has to make sure that he has a savings built up so when something happens to that truck, he has to make sure that home is taken care of. He has to make sure that his body is on point because he's driving, he's not eating right. So there's some things that me personally, I make sure that they can take care of and I take care of the rest. But you have to decide what you want to do because I have a limit. So my fees, my percentage, I charge from what I do. I charge 8%. That's the max for me. Although all of the things that I do, I don't have to do all the time. But when I do them, it can be a headache. So although I charge 8%, one of the main things is we will never be paid or compensated for the time that we take with a carrier. Sometimes we can take hours, we can take days to find them something. And we can't get that back, no matter what the percentage is. So for me, 8% is my max. When I do have to go into pit bull mode, that's when all of those times for the 8% kick in. So I don't charge my carrier for what equipment they drive because they still have the insurance, they still have the liabilities, they still have to maintain that truck. They have all of the things. So I don't see or understand. Be personally, you will do what you want to do in your business. Charging a carrier for what they drive because you know it's going to make money. I charge for what I'm going to do. And that's my max. You all may decide that you want to keep up with their IFTA taxes and file them for them every quarter, then you charge for that. If you're going to do that, you charge them 9%. If you're going to be keeping up with their plates and handling their insurance information, you charge 10%. You charge what you want to charge for what you want to charge it for. I'm just stating that I don't see the sense in charging them for their equipment because they still have to maintain it. But if you're going to be handling all the back office work and tapping into things that the carrier should be doing themselves, which is their IFTA, keeping up with their insurance and their taxes and things, then you need to be compensated for that. Because that means that you're doing another task, which means you have signed up, you're on you have accounts for them, you're on the FMCSA website, you're on the IRS website, and you're actually taking care of their business. So although you're calling yourself a dispatcher, at that point, you're actually a personal assistant, because when you do that many things and more for the carrier, you're pretty much on call for him. And for me, my limit is 8 because I'm not going to be, I already am 24 hours when my carrier has to work on overnight. So I'm definitely not going to be available to them on my time off. And anytime they need me, because now you're stepping into that role. But you'll understand, you're deciding what you're doing, so those are the things. So I think the most stressful thing, and you all will find that I'm going to give a lot of examples because I live it. The hardest thing that I've had to do is to recover money for a carrier through their own fault. So I was a dispatcher, I'm dispatching for them. They were at the truck stop one day. You know how we do. Somebody gets to whispering. So somebody was telling him, oh, you had a dispatcher. You don't need a dispatcher. You can do it yourself. You can get on the load board. So they showed him how to get on the DAT load board, because a lot of people don't know what all we do. So which you all will know very soon. So he got with the guy was telling him, oh, you don't need a dispatcher. You don't need to pay them to do it for you. So the guy showed him how to get on the load board, showed him how to find loads. And he got on there, he got excited, and he got him a load. The load was for $1,080. He got the load, he booked the load, and he tried to submit the information to the factoring company. Now, all of this I don't know because, we haven't gotten back together. So a week or so passes by. Now we've gone on other loads. We back to the task at hand. So he contacts me and he's like, hey, I have a load that I did and I want you to submit it to the factoring company, because every time I submit it to the factoring company, they kick it back. So I'm like thinking to myself, okay, well, what load? Because I submit, so I don't know. So he sends it over to me. I look at it. I immediately check credit. See, this is what your friend the guy didn't tell you there's some things that need to be done. That's why we as dispatchers don't book everything. We have to look into it. Immediately, I look. The people are in the red. They have bad credit. They don't pay. So I contact him back and I say, hey, I'm not sure what happened here, but this load is not going to be paid by the factoring company because this company cannot be factored. So of course he got a little snappy with me and he was like, all I ask you to do is submit it to the factoring company because every time you submit it, you submit stuff, it goes through. I said, okay, because we don't push. We have to get in the show you better than I can tell you mode. So I submitted it to the factoring company because once you submit it, the factoring company is going to write you back and they're going to say, hey, this can't be paid, this company. And that's what I wanted. So when I got it, I forwarded it over to him and I said, hey, the factoring company, check your email. The factoring company says this company is not factorable. They're not in good standings. So he called me back. You know, you're more meek now. So I say, well, what happened? Like, who put you up? Man, I was at the truck stop. You know, he started telling me. The man was telling me I could find myself. You know, it wasn't nothing against you. I wasn't trying to take no food out your mouth. I was just trying to see how it goes. So I'm just, you know, it's your business. I work for you. So I said, okay, so this is what I'm going to have to do. I need to recover the money for you. But I'm still charging you the 8% because now I have to work for something that I shouldn't have to be working for. He was like, that's fine. Just get the money. Just give me my money. Because, you know, I ran it. It was good too. It was a good load, which he should have known, but we will know as dispatchers. It was like 200 and something miles for $1,080. That's a red flag right there. It's not hazmat. You're non-CDL. So I know it's not so juicy that. So he was like, oh, it was only 3,000 pounds and it was 200 and some miles. Bro. So I tell him I have to go to work. So he's like, well, what you gonna have to do? I said, right now, I'm sending you an email that's stating, because we always want to keep a paper trail, that's stating that you took a loan from so-and-so, such and such. They did not pay you. So now I have to go in and do the work and recover the money for you. I will be getting the 10% of this load because I'm actually having to work this load because now I got to fight. So he was like, okay, I'm going to sign and send it back. So he hit it with a DocuSign. So I got to work. So when I contacted the people, they gave me the runaround. They said, oh, you need to speak with accounting. Okay, so I get over to accounting. Accounting is like, oh, we don't have record of this load. I do because he sent me the information to send over to the factoring company. So I asked, what is your email address? They were like, oh, you need to go back to who you originally spoke with. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody raised their hand.
Quick question. So does he have to have DocuSign too? And I mean, I know you have it as the dispatcher. Does the person does he have to have it too, the carrier?
No, they just have to have something to scan and send you the BOL once it's completed. Okay. But when on my DocuSign, when I send you something to sign, it's on mine. So all you got to do is open it, sign it for me, and then my DocuSign will bring it back to me.
Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome. So I contact them. So she's saying, you need to speak with the original person where they got the load from. So I go back to the paperwork. I see the email of the person. Like the broker did everything right. They just knew they wasn't on the up and up. So I go back, I send them an email and I say, there was a load done on so-and-so such and such. This is who did it. This is who picked it up. This was the time. Here's the BOL. And I CC'd the lady from, because they had the information for accounting, because that's what you're supposed to submit it to. So I CC'd her. So the guy didn't say anything. It was Charles. He didn't say anything. So she wrote back, Charles, you know, with the question marks. So then he finally came back 3 days later. Oh, I was on vacation and I didn't see this. So what happened? I got on the phone. Y'all will find yourself doing this as you get in your flow. When I'm on the phone, I am typing up the email of what we are talking about. While we were on the phone call began at 12:04 p.m. Phone call ended at 1:07 p.m. In this call, we talked about, because a broker, if they don't have to pay you and they can find a way out, they will not pay you and they will hit you with some sort of stipulation. So I sent everything over to him. You know, we got everything going. So then he was like, okay, I'm going to submit. I think this was a Wednesday by now. I'm going to submit it to accounting, and you all should be paid by Friday. So we got everything going. We got everything set in motion. Friday comes. He said we were supposed to receive a direct deposit on Friday. I contact them on Friday, like 9 o'clock. Did y'all receive anything? No. I contact them back. I can't get anybody on the phone. So I go to their MC, they go to their authority on the DAT load board. I see who they have their broker bond with. I send them an email. I say, if we do not have the payment today by 5 p.m., I will be submitting a claim to your surety bond. And I had the name of it. I put it on there. How about by 1 o'clock that afternoon, we were paid? Because see, they don't want you to go against that broker bond because it's a ding on them. And they have run the risk of getting nobody to be able to get their bond, or they get, or whatever the stipulations are with that. So that is the hardest action that I had to do. And then one of the hardest things that I had to do was, you know, just waiting around and getting started and operating with a non-CDL box truck, which thankfully it worked out. It was successful, but it was all because of the plan of action that I made for them. And the interview process, which I'm going to make sure that you all know. And I believe our volunteers are probably going to be box trucks. So here's what I do know. If you can run a box truck, you can run any other piece of equipment. It is the most challenging. I try to stay away from words like difficult and hard because it's actually a challenge. You have your times, you have your moments, and you all will hear me say this as well. I tell you all how it feels, because that for me is important. It's more than a load. I'm going to tell you that you're going to get stressed out, that you're going to get worked up, that you're going to have times where you want to cry and you want to cuss and you want to. It is important to me that you all know that, because when you feel it, I don't want you not to be prepared. Because what happened to me is I got into it and I started going through all of these things and all of these emotions, because where I researched and where I originally got the information from the class that I took, they only just told me the things. Here's the information. You're going to be able to run it. So I started feeling like I must not be doing it right. But all the while, this was part of what happens. So I make sure that you all know it. Any area that we get into, if I have a scenario, I'll go ahead and let you know that, so you can know what to expect, because it's not easy. It's not quick. It's not any of those things, but it can be done. So that's what we do as a dispatcher. We are the first line of defense. We take care of their business. We are customer service. We are management, office manager. That is us. If we ever wanted to put a title on there, that's what I would say. So we already run over this, your business entity, your load boards, and all of the things. And it says average starting cost, but it's not that. As you can see, with your load board, whichever one you choose, $40 or $100, and then your $14.99, your $8.99. I think your monthly cost is definitely less than $200. And once you get a carrier, it'll be a breeze, because you'll be getting your weekly payment, which, if not cover everything that you need to run your business, definitely close. And the fact that it's due monthly, you'll be fine. Which is why I am so glad that I have the 30-day subscription, because you all will be able to be prepared for when you get ready to make the payment on it, especially if we already have a carrier, and I'm hoping that we all have one before we're done. So now we're going to get into the daily verbiage. So these are the ones that we use most often. BOL, bill of lading, and that is the binding contract that serves three main purposes: a receipt for goods delivered to the transportation provider for shipment, a definition or description of the goods, and evidence of title to the relative goods. So that basically means that that broker has entrusted this carrier to take this load. When I sign off on it, it comes from the responsibility of the broker to the responsibility of the carrier. Then once the carrier get it to where it needs to be and it is signed, it is now the responsibility of whoever they shipped it, they dropped it off to at the end. So they need to submit that it is completed, and it is now the responsibility to somebody else. I've done my part, to me. And then I send that back over to the broker. The broker is who gets the information first, even if your carrier has a factoring company, because the broker initiates payment. If that bill of lading does not get back to the broker, nothing happens. No payment start, nothing. So backhaul. Backhaul is for the carrier to get back to where they started. So wherever they started from, whether it was their home or whether it was where they parked their truck, wherever they began. So wherever you send them, you want to make sure that you get them back to where they began. Commodity. Commodity, any goods which are shipped. Commodity is what is on their truck. Is it pallets? Is it milk? Is it eggs? What are they hauling? I'm going to talk about detention time, layover time, and TONU all at once. So TONU, we'll start there. Truck order not used. That just means that the broker, we got a load. The carrier got to the location, because you only get TONU if the carrier gets on the grounds. So if a carrier got there and they were looking for the bay that is on the BOL, and they find out from security or the shipping manager that they don't have anything there for them. Normally when something like this happens, that shipper double booked. So the shipper, the broker will have to pay your carrier. 9 times out of 10, the broker will have on the rate confirmation, which we're going to get there in a minute, what TONU is. So they'll say, we'll pay, just an example, $175 if you go there and they didn't pay. They didn't have anything for you. So they'll try to cover the gas, but they'll maybe say, well, when we get to layover and detention, they have more. Or they'll say, we pay TONU, but it's only $100. So these are the things that we need to look at before we send our carrier out. If they do not have anything, then we will negotiate. Then I normally, which we'll get more into negotiation, but I'll normally negotiate how many miles did it take him to get there? Because I want no less than the gas. Even if it, they won't go really high. So I'll see how many miles did it take to get there. I'll know what my carrier wants is rate per mile. So if it's $1.50, get my calendar. Oh, I forgot. You all will need a calendar, but you probably got one on your phone. I mean, not a calendar, calculator, but you probably have one on your phone. So if my carrier wants $1.50 a mile, and we drove 80 miles to get to where we're going, I will ask the broker to at least give us $120. It's probably 2 tanks of gas, but it's not the broker's business. We drove 80 miles to pick something up, and when we got there, the shipper did not have anything, so we want $120. So that's truck order not used. And again, you only get the TONU if the carrier was on the site and I heard a noise. Is that a raised hand or something? Oh, yes, it is. Okay. All right.
So will this slideshow that you have right here be available to us to go through?
No, ma'am. But I do have one similar to it. Well, no, you don't need this. You have access to this. You can watch this over and over. We're recording it.
Okay.
So you can come back and watch it at any time.
Okay.
So yeah, but they have to get on the grounds and be told after they got there. If they contact you, now this is really messed up, and sometimes a broker will still give you a TONU, but it depends on the situation. Say, your carrier road, they don't really want you to do a whole lot of miles. So say your carrier rode 80 miles. He did the same 80 miles. And when he was getting ready to turn on the street, there was a cancellation. Like he's right there, but he didn't get on the grounds. I will negotiate that with the broker. You're going to at least give us $60. You're going to at least give us a tank of gas, because I feel like you knew before he got there that it was nothing. Where were you? Because I know the shipper didn't just, but maybe they did. But I want at least one tank of gas. And I'm going to stay on it, and I'm going to harp on it until they just won't. But you never just not do it. So because it's an inconvenience. The carrier still did the wear and tear and the driving over there. So you still want to fight. So that's another thing that we do. That's why I always charge my percentage, even if I don't have to do it. Because when you got to fight, you got to fight. So that's one of the things as well. So, good morning. You'll be able to catch the replay, to catch the beginning part. Can you tell me your name? Hold on. Let me take you off mute. Or maybe I can't take you off mute.
Oh,
okay. There you
can
go.
you hear me? Yeah, my name is Ken. Sorry about my tardiness. I thought it was 10 a.m. Central. I didn't know it was Eastern.
No problem.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and move forward. We got into.
Oh yeah, that's totally fine.
The vocabulary. Yeah, you can always go back and catch it. Okay, thank you, sir. So that's for the tonu. So for the delay, layover, and delay. So for delay, they will have. Where is it? Detention. Detention and delay is the same. So if they hold the truck, say the truck had an appointment at 11 a.m. They did not get to unload the truck until 5 p.m. They may have on the rate confirmation that detention time starts after 2 hours. And then after 2 hours, it'll be $45 an hour, which is fine. The truck, the carriers, they'll teach us a lot too. They already know that when they're going to certain places, yeah, my appointment is at 11, but I know they're not going to get to me till 2. 99.9% of the time, the broker will have the detention on there. After 2 hours, we pay $45 an hour, up to 5 hours. After that, then I guess they do whatever it is that they have to do with the shipper, because now this is ridiculous. Layover time is, let me pull it up so you all can see it. But layover right here, when a driver is delayed by a shipper or receiver for 1 or more days. So say we had that same appointment at 11 today. And at 6 today, we're still not loaded or unloaded. And the shipper comes out and say, we get ready to close for the day. You'll have to come back tomorrow. Now, if the broker does not have layover options, I am going to negotiate food for my carrier. I am going to negotiate hotel for my carrier, because now you have just implemented fees that they were not supposed to incur. So you as the broker are going to pay them. And the broker more than likely will pay them because they need that guaranteed. A broker, once they have something locked in, they don't want to go back and try to get somebody else. So more than likely they will work with you. And let me tell you one thing about a broker. A broker has the money. Don't ever not negotiate. Don't ever not hit them where you want to hit them, because a broker has the money. If the broker can get away with keeping 30, 40% for themselves and paying the carrier the rest, they will. You hit them across the head because they have it. They got it. And a lot of times the brokers they allow their greed to overshadow that the carrier is important. And if you can't get this load moved, what that 30% and 45% what you're holding on to is still going to kick out for your surety bond, because you ain't did no work. So always, always, always negotiate unless the load is already good, the credit is good, you don't want to push it. Take it where it is. And of course, we're going to discuss that a whole lot more. So that is layover time. That is what I negotiate layover time. A lot of times they won't have layover time on there because it's one of those things that you kind of gotta watch. But a broker should know how a shipper works, because carriers will tell us, you know, I went out there and I did the $2,500 load, but don't send me out there anymore. I don't want to go over there anymore. Or can you let the broker know that this is what they're doing out there? Because we're their advocate. We advocate for their business. I advocate for you all, myself, for businesses. We advocate for them. So we get the information and we call the broker up and we say, hey, my driver said he's not going out there anymore. They didn't load him. You know, they wouldn't allow him to use the bathroom, even though they were delayed. Like you, this is how we speak for the carrier. And this is how a broker finds out that, okay, I don't want to work with this shipper anymore, or I'm going to have to renegotiate something with the shipper. You know, they're able to do what they need to do if they're on the up and up, because they want to keep that business and they want to keep getting paid, but they don't want a carrier to be unhappy. So that's how we'll find out the information. And if nothing is done about it, and a carrier will normally, they'll try it again, especially when you let them know, okay, I told the broker this, this, and this. They go again, and it's they're not gonna. You can't even ask them anymore because they feel like at that point nobody cares what you know about me. So let me go back up. So I got those three out of the way. Deadhead. Deadhead is basically how long is this truck going to be moving without making any money? And we want to try to keep the deadhead below 100 miles. Excuse me. Sometimes it's just not possible. And the carrier will understand that, especially if they know that they're going to certain areas. But how you can combat that is if you know you're going into an area that doesn't really have a good options to come out, you look at the load on the front end. So Florida, my home state, is hard. So if I'm sending, well, my carriers are from Florida. So if I'm sending them there, they're going home. But I'm definitely sending them home with something that is good enough to bring them out. So I will normally they will have to deadhead to Jacksonville. And we can roll from Jacksonville, Georgia line on up to where they're going. So for example, if they're going home, and say I find them something going home for $2,500, and it's going from maybe Georgia, something that's really good, like 600 miles. I'm going to take it because when they get ready to come back out in a week or 3 days, they have already got the gas covered to deadhead wherever I need them to go to get them out of Florida, and we keep it moving. So if you must deadhead, look at what is going in. You'll know at the time how much they want, their rate per mile. So you'll be able to gauge and say, okay, this right here will give them, they'll get their pay, and this will give them $700 over. It only costs them $60 or $80, you know, to fill up their tank. We're going to take it because we can stand the deadhead to get them out of there, but only if you have to. But if you're doing just a regular and reasonable, we want the deadhead to stay under 100 miles. Me personally, with the permission from my carrier, we spot a broker 50 miles. So if we have a load that is 100 miles away, so say my carrier wants $1.50 a mile times 100. So that's $150. So I will just charge them $1.50 a mile times the 50 miles. I'm not good at math, so y'all will see me. So I'll just charge them $75. The reason that I do that, well, two reasons. If the rate is really good and I know where I'm going to negotiate, I always use that as, you know, to help, to make the broker feel like I'm giving them a break. but I'm really not. So I'll say, well, we can be there. It's 100 miles. You know, we can be there in 2 hours, and it doesn't. But only negotiate it when it's necessary. So say there's a load. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're 2 hours out from a load that needs to be picked up at 3 o'clock. Well, the broker gonna go with you because you're 100 miles out. You'll get there long before, so you can say, okay, well, we'll go ahead and take it. We're 2 hours out, and we will we'll spot you 50 miles. They're gonna go for it, and they're gonna let our carrier have it. And the load may be, it's 100 miles out, but the load may be $3,500. We can stand to spot them $75 because you take what we're gonna get paid is so much better. So, and the broker don't care if it's $1 that they can save. They want the dollar. And of course, we're going to be getting more and more into these, but I'm just trying to get you all kind of acclimated with how things going, and then we'll get into the touching and all up into it. So freight broker is the middleman. He is the person that has the freights and the contracts with the shippers, and we as a dispatcher want to get that freight from them. So we as a dispatcher and carriers may not direct connect with a shipper. The broker takes care of that part for us because it's hard to do. It takes long. So that's how the chain of command, I guess, kind of goes. The broker is the middleman between the shipper and the carrier, and the dispatcher is the person that facilitates between the carrier and the broker. Freight, any product that's being transported. So whatever it is, freight and commodity kind of go together. FTL, you all will see FTL and LTL a lot on the load boards. I advise everybody to start with a load board. I know people say, oh, don't get on the load boards and make your own connections and all of that. But when we are learning, we need to know what to say, how this works, how things look. And the load board is not all that bad. Once you get on the load board, once you start getting loads and contacting brokers, you will eventually work yourself off of the load board because you will be making connections. And how connections happen is you call up, your carrier does a load. You do a good job. The broker likes that. So they'll say, hey, thank you so much. I always do this. When my carrier delivers, it's each time, whether we deliver with them before or it's our first time, I always send them an email with the BOL. Hey, we were able to take care of it. Here's the bill of lading. Thank you so much for allowing us to be of service. They remember that. So that when they get the next time they're in that area or they get something over there, because a broker does not want to be on the load board. So he will contact you first. Hey, you did a load for us last week, or you did a load for us 3 weeks ago over at so-and-so, such and such. We have something available over there. Is your truck near there and empty? As a matter of fact, they are. So you start to, you are establishing a rapport, and then you can say, you know what, can you go ahead and put me on your email list? Of course. So on the email list, I'll just tell y'all this really quickly. You'll get an email every morning from the broker, but they don't separate the loads. So you'll just go through there and find, if you're doing a box truck, you go find box truck loads, see what he got for that day, power only, whatever your equipment is, you do have to go through there and find it, but it's easier and it's faster. And you can call them up and say, because you know where your truck at, you know where your carrier at, you know what's going on. So when you see something that they can take for the day, you call the broker up. Hey, you got something going from Miami to Ohio. My carrier is in Miami right now, and he wants to go that way. You negotiate if you need to negotiate, and you got your load for the day. You're done. Or moving on to your next carrier, if you have multiple. So we want to make friends with the brokers to make it easier for ourselves and for our carriers. So on the load board, you will see FTL and LTL. FTL full truck loads, mostly for 53-foot, drive-ins, reefers. You'll know what your carrier wants to take. You'll know their equipment. You'll know the measurements, You'll know all of the things. So when you're looking through the load board and you put in whatever your abbreviations are for what you're looking for, you'll bring that up for today. If you do dry vans, reefers, and some flatbeds as well, your carrier will help you with that. So you'll have to do what's called partializing. And that just means that you have to find them something going in the direction that fills that truck up, which we're going to learn when we do our maps and stuff. So you'll just say you find something in Georgia that's for $700 and it might be, 1,000 pounds, and he's going to Texas. So you'll get him something, that $700 load in Georgia, and then you'll get him something in Alabama that may be like $1,500, but he'll tell you, okay, find me something in Alabama that weighs 1,200 pounds and it's 14 feet. So he'll give you some direction on that when you start, if you all get into that bigger equipment. And then he might say, because we're going from Georgia, so we're going Alabama, Mississippi. He might say, don't find me anything in Mississippi. I want to get some mileage under me. But find me something in Louisiana and find me something in this part of Texas. So your load that you got from, I forgot to say this part. So your $700 load that you got in Georgia, it may be getting dropped off in Louisiana. So that's fine. And then your $1,400 load that you got in Alabama, it may be getting dropped off in Mississippi or Louisiana, or the first one, the $700, the first one is the original, it's going to Texas. But the next one that you picked up in Alabama, it may be going to Mississippi, Louisiana, or it may also be going to Texas. So you'll learn and make sure that you know how to partialize it all the way up the road until they tell you to stop, which means you make a $700 here, $1,400 here, $2,500 here, and all of that you're getting your percentage from. So that's a full truckload, and those are usually the pieces of equipment that take full truckloads. LTL, which is less than truckloads. LTL also goes for the bigger equipment as well. Well, I'm sorry, the FTL would be to fill those first equipments. LTL would be where you partialize. And also LTL is a lot of the freight that box trucks get, because it's not a full truck. Box trucks, a CDL box truck, gross vehicle weight, maybe 33,000 pounds, but they may be only able to carry maybe 15,000 pounds after, they do all the things, which is fill up how much weight the truck is and everything after they've done everything. So it may be able to carry like 14,000 pounds after. That's a CDL driver and a CDL box truck. A non-CDL box truck, because you can still be a CDL driver, but have a non-CDL box truck, which means you cannot carry the weight of a CDL driver because your equipment does not allow you. So the maximum that a box truck driver wants to carry, in my experience, has been in a 26-foot box. They don't want to carry any more than 9,000 pounds. In a non-CDL driving box, they don't want to carry more than 8,000, because after a while they can start to feel the weight. So they don't want to take any more than that. And for the box truck, I don't think ever found anything for them over maybe 6,000 pounds, because anything where they try to add anything onto it is going to be overweight, which you all are going to learn that also. So that's the examples of the full truckload and the less than truckload. Lift gate. When you get ready to take on a carrier, if they do not have a lift gate on that equipment, you may want to advise them that that's something that's going to need. But I don't work with it, because I cannot find them a lot of things with that. And the companies want the lift gate that falls under the truck, because it doesn't take up any space. The one that lifts up, it stops you from taking, because that has to go on there and it is included in the weight also. But the one that falls under the truck. And this is just useful information for us as dispatchers to know. So when we do my 3, which is listen, educate, and then advocate, we are able to hear what they have going on, and then we are able to educate them with what we know and what we see that they're going to need. And then if we decide to move forward with them, we will become their advocate or their admin. So that's how that go. And a lift gate is a mechanical device attached to the back of a truck, so that heavy objects can be lifted to and from the ground. Lanes. Make sure I got everything up here. Yes. Lanes. Lanes are broken down into A, B, C, or D. Lanes refer to the most common trucking routes in a state that turns the most amount of profit. You will learn your lanes. These are things that are, I guess, trivial would be a good word, because they don't remain the same all the time. And we, the carriers and the dispatchers, we determine what the industry is going to pay. So when we as dispatchers and owner operators take low ball offers, the freight brokers are going to submit that. So say this week, people are taking freight that's $1.35 or something like that, knowing it should be $2.50 or $3. They're just taking it. Well, next week, that's all we're going to see on the low board, because brokers going to be like, well, they took it last week. So we want to make sure that we always look into something that is fruitful, something that is good for us all. But there will be times that it is just so slow that you just like, let me just take something that'll get them the gas. And we'll talk about those times too, because there are seasons. It's getting ready to be drive-in season. So we'll know the things too, and what's going on, and how the money's supposed to look, and how things are supposed to be going. And lanes are broken down in, like it says here, in states. So I know that, let's say Texas to California, California to Texas, that is an A lane between those states. They consistently have work, and they consistently have good money. And it just depends on your equipment. But you'll learn what the lanes are, where you want to do, or where you get your carriers from, and then you'll be able to pinpoint them better at the time. Excuse me, y'all. Shipper, the party which sends or ships goods in a freight shipment. So that is where our carriers will pick up, drop off, wherever they're going, however we move them. Rate confirmation, very, very important. It is an agreement of pay between the freight broker and carrier that is legally binding. This is what we sign, the rate con. You'll hear rate confirmations. This is what we sign. We always want to make sure we read every line of these rate confirmations, and we want to make sure that what we discussed over that phone and what we agreed to is what is on there. If it is incorrect, the broker needs to correct it and send you a new rate confirmation. Do not let them tell you, oh, I know I didn't put it on there, but we'll fix it at the end. Y'all remember I was telling y'all earlier, if a broker does not have to pay, they will find every way not to. So do not let them do that. Also, when I'm on the phone with a broker, I am a documentation queen. While we're talking, I am sending an email, setting it up. All right, per our phone call, this is what we said we're going to do. This is what we said we're going to receive. I'm expecting to get the rate confirmation. Thank you so much. Don't try to do any of that. So when you send me over something faulty and I say, hey, per our phone conversation and the email that I sent you, this is what we agreed to. Also, with a rate confirmation, if your carrier needs a total, delay, or detention pay, the broker needs to send you a new rate con with the added lines. So if you got a delay or a layover, he needs to send you a new rate confirmation. And the first line still needs to say, okay, we took this load, this how much it was, this how much it weighed. And then there needs to be a second line that says detention pay, $500, layover pay, $250, and it included food, hotel, the breakdown of what we did. And you need to send me a brand new one, because the first one is now null and void because we had to make some changes. So everything that you do with a broker concerning the rate confirmation And acceptance, every time it changes, he needs to send you a new one. And you need to re-sign, like, okay, this is what I agree to. This is how we're doing, this is how we're moving. And that's it for that. Because we're going to get into the rest of these things on tomorrow. So now, for the day, does anybody have any questions? I set us from 10 to 1, but I think I told you all that it depends on how many students we have and how many questions that we have. But we've covered all that we're going to cover today. And that's just, getting the business started, everything that we're going to need, and becoming acclimated with the information. But if you all have any questions, now is the time, and I will answer you. And again, if you ask something that we're going to cover, I'll just say we'll get there tomorrow, or we get there so and so, because I don't want to cross y'all up. But anything for today?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any way that you could go through this slideshow right here with these terms so I can screenshot it? The best way for me to learn is to read it and then write it down.
Okay,
So,
this video is about to be in the group, so you can get it and screenshot it. Did you want? Oh, actually, you can download. I think, yeah, you can download these terms from the group. Are you in the group?
yes.
Okay, so I'll show you all when we get off here, because I'll still be in the group. Even if you all think of something later, I will answer you. But I'm going to go in there and I'm going to show you all. I'll go live in there and show you the file section, and you can download.
Oh,
so you
that's
won't
fabulous.
Even write it down.
Thank
I
you.
got you. I'm telling you. I try to provide what I needed as easy as possible, because it was hard. I had to try to find other stuff. But yeah, I got you.
I just joined the group this morning, so I didn't have any time to poke around at all. So.
Oh, that's fine. That's why today is the orientation, so y'all can go in there and look around. And I'm gonna come in there and go live, like I said, and show you all the file section, so you can download all of the things, and then you can just look through. And also with the information in there, don't confuse yourself. And if you ask me something that we're gonna get into, I'll do the same thing. I'll just say, oh, we got it coming. Or I'll just answer you. Just depends on what it is. But did anybody else have anything?
Yes, I have a quick question. In terms of, and I don't know if this is part of this thing, but I think I saw it on your Linktree or something. But in terms of compliance, like for us to make sure that our carrier has everything they need in terms of compliance with the DOT, is there like a checklist for that or no?
As a dispatcher, we do not. That is a personal thing. If you decide to add compliance to your services, then you'll do that, and then you will charge what you charge. But as a dispatcher, we do not have to keep up with compliance. There are some things that are the business of the owner. So they would need to keep up and make sure that they are doing everything that they're supposed to do as far as DOT requirements. They also need to keep up with their own IFTA, with their own insurances. So those are their portion of the business. However, if you add that service and you offer that service to them, it will be what you do in your business. But it's not a part of dispatching. It is a part of your scale up, which we're going to talk about, but I'll still go ahead and hit it now because I want you all to think of it. So we are all in the same dispatcher course. And this is important to me. And if you don't have a scale up, we can talk about it and think of what it is that you do. So I want you to put this in mind. And thank you so much. That was a great question. Think of what sets you apart. Like, what do you want to do in your business that will help you scale up? Or what do you already do that you already know how to do that you can implement? So when I say that, like, if you are a person that knows how to, create documents really well, you can actually create documents for people's businesses or for your carrier's businesses, and sell them $15, $25. Like I've done my agreement, and things like that. If you are a notary, include these things. If you all have probably heard me say this before, if you are a nurse, or something like that. Implement that, and tell your carriers, some practices, some stretches, or some things to eat or drink. Implement what did you all do in your past job positions. I was in customer service and I was a trainer, and I was in quality. And so I implement those things into my business. So I want you all to think about what you want to add, or what you want to do, or what you want to look into, and what you want to learn, because you always want to be looking up in your business, even though, even looking into, becoming a broker, if that's what we have to do. But go ahead, Treva. Or do I have to press something? No. You there, Treva?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. As a notary, how do you work that in your business? Don't you have to be present when things are signed?
Well, now they have upgraded, and they have where you can do electronic.
Well,
You
let
have
me
your
look into
iPad.
it. I have a notary. I didn't know that you could do that. I will check that out.
Yeah, they have some. One of my friends is a notary, and I'm actually about to go and get mine, because she was telling me how so many businesses, and this is if all of y'all want to do it, y'all know I don't care nothing about giving information, that a lot of companies that are going completely remote, they need notaries. And she found herself driving all over Georgia to meet up with people, because there's not enough notaries to notarize the statements that they need to send back into the companies. So definitely that's something that you can add.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Yvette. Can you hear me? Oh, maybe she's typing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what do you suggest, like, as far as us being new dispatchers, what is a good number as far as carriers to start out with?
Start out with one.
Okay. The reason I ask is because the reason why I'm taking this class is because my husband is a driver, and he's getting ready to switch over in the next few months to owner operator. We're planning for that, and so that's why I'm taking this class.
Okay, so here's the thing with that. And I'll say the reason why I say one is because we want to get some type of experience and get that one running like a well-oiled machine, like we know what they're going to do before we take on another one. And you'll see why I say that once you start really doing it. For you, though, specifically, if you're going to dispatch for your husband, if you're going to dispatch for your husband only, then you don't need to start, all of this. But if you're going to dispatch for other people, then you will need to establish a business, because now you are functioning as a business. Well, if you do it for your husband, you all are the business together.
Right.
But if you want to take on other people with their own authorities, then you would have to go ahead and do this. And we all need to start thinking about that anyway, especially if we want to become a broker. We want to start thinking about getting our credit in order so we can get good offers as far as the surety bonds. And even if you want to become a freight agent, you still want to start building your book of business. And I know you all hear me say that often, but building your book of business is starting to get carriers, be in contact with carriers, making sure that you have some people to contact. So if you decide to go that route, you have something to present to a shipper, which is trucks.
So would it still be a good idea for me to go ahead and establish a business since he's going to be paying me?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes. And you can actually separate him from your business. He can be your carrier.
Okay.
So yes, definitely do that.
Okay.
Definitely. Anybody else? No? All right. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the day. And meet you all over in the group. Even if they can't come right now, I'm gonna still go over there and do a live and then show you all where the files are, what you can download, where you can find the things. All right. Okay. Well, thank y'all so much. and we will do it again tomorrow at 10 a.m. And again, I will be available in the group in case you think of things. What I do is I'm available in the group all day, mostly every day until 5. But our lives will just be between 10 and 1, and then we'll go over there and do our day and do our things. All right, so thank you all so much again for your time this morning. I greatly appreciate you all. We're going to wrap it up for this morning, and I'll see you all again tomorrow morning at 10. Same link. All right, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now I leave.